Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Silent Hill 2. Yeah, finally have our first weapon, or at least it would be, depending on what difficulty level you play as. Which I suppose I might as well get out of the way now, as we're pretty much just spelunking around town. Well, first of all, one of the best abilities about the wooden plank is that you can swing it round and round and round and round, and away they may be, boom, boom, boom. So you can pretty much do hit and runs if you want, with the wooden plank. Which, I mean, realistically speaking, is a pretty good weapon to have, like it's a wooden ball with a nail in it, which could pierce the skull cavity. So, yeah, if you ever need a weapon to murder your enemies and something that's very cost-effective, then, well, this wooden board shall be your best friend. It ain't gonna leave you bored when you're murdering someone like, your wife. But in any case, this is pretty much another situation akin to Silent Hill 1 in terms of your level structure. You can pretty much explore around these streets. You obviously will have a few places that are barred off either by giant walls or bottomless pits of death. So, again, like, it's open, but at the same time it's also confined enough so that, you know, you're not going to be running all the way around town and pretty much level skipping right to the end and basically skipping over James's trauma and pain yet to come. And another interesting aspect of Silent Hill 2 is that while it doesn't really focus on the cult per se, there is a very large influence of, you know, occultism and the town's history in and of itself wrapping itself around here. Like, I mean, while the cult isn't the central focus, like, I mean, as you saw there, the executioners used to wash their tools over in the Blood Lake. Considering Silent Hill's spiritual energies, yeah, makes you wonder what could happen if you, well, cleaned your tools in a place where people decide to go swimming. There are plenty of places to explore. Again, you're going to be seeing a few of them here, such as the motorhome and Neely's bar, a lot of which can play either some small effect, either in getting you some supplies, or playing to rather a large effect in terms of getting some of the endings, but again, I think I'll cover that a little bit later. Back to my original salient point, of course, in terms of difficulty. Yeah, Silent Hill has two difficulties. One's the action difficulty, which is obviously your action skill, you know, fighting against monsters, running around, how much health and damage you can take, you know, all that sort of thing. Also depends on what sort of pickups you get, actually, because, I mentioned on easy and beginner mode you get the chainsaw right at the beginning, rather than the wooden board. So, yeah, you can potentially get that early. In terms of, the harder difficulties, you're pretty much just stuck with a wooden plank on normal and, well, hard mode, obviously. I believe the difference between beginner and easy mode is that you don't actually die. At least I think. I recall seeing a playthrough of the beginner mode once, and I think, James not dying is pretty much just there so people can enjoy the story, so, yeah, it's game reviewer friendly. For professionals. Tee-hee hoddle ha, topical humor, ba-ba-ba-bam. But, yeah, that's pretty much the only real difference. In terms of the riddle difficulty, that'll come into play a little bit later, but basically that's, well, puzzle difficulty. Sometimes the riddles will be easier, sometimes they'll be relatively easy. I don't think it gets quite to the level of Silent Hill 3 where some riddles are solved for you, but whatever. Anyway, in terms of how you're meant to be navigating around this place, basically you explore around town, go to the motorhome, which prompts you to go towards Neely's bar, then you basically pick up well, a bunch of different locations that you can copy to your map, in a similar manner to how in Silent Hill 1, you could go all the way off to the convenience store, stock up on supplies. I believe you could also find a map somewhere around there and, copy specific locations towards your map as well, or I might be thinking of the, Keys to Eclipse map, actually, so, scratch that. Scratch it, reverse it, rebirth it. But in any case, the point about, what exactly is significant about Neely's bar? Well, James likes a good drink, as you will soon learn. Later. Or learn right now, because I told you. But, yeah, basically, go to Neely's bar, and it plays a very significant factor if you want a certain ending. Are we going to get it, or are we not? We will find out together in the Silent Hill adventure. But again, to basically put things simply, explore around town. Like, gather up as many supplies as you possibly can, because otherwise, well, you'll have plenty of other opportunities to do so, but this is pretty much your freebie, so to speak. I mean, as you will see in the coming parts, there are plenty of opportunities for high-risk, high-reward, supply-obtain things, but not as much as you would have liked. I mean, and if you are looking for basic tips to pick up on how to play a Silent Hill game, if you are looking for it, well, just go look to that question mark, and, well, basically, well, actually, no, that question mark is plot-related. I think it's up, trying to remember, was it Martin Street or the one at Cat Street? I don't know, but basically you'll find a dead body in the middle of the road with a bunch of different pages, basically telling you things about, you know, how monsters are attracted to light. So, again, if you have your flashlight on in the dark, they'll come right towards you, or, you know, if you make a noise, they'll also chase after you. Basically just study your shots, and, well, run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away, run away, run away. But again, in terms of, like, any actual useful plot information, it basically tells you about the nature of Silent Hill 2, and... well, basically in terms of how they seem to change up the sort of rules of Silent Hill because it's not being controlled by Alessa, but instead, well, basically as sort of like a punishment purgatory kind of thing. It's very shining in terms of how it operates. Basically, one person's seeing demons, the other isn't. Who is mad? And who is sane? Oh no, by the way, that thing isn't like a broken bicycle wheel, that's the bug cockroach enemies from Silent Hill 1 that are here for some reason. I guess they had the models, because, I mean, talking in terms of, like, early Silent Hill trivia here, well, first of all, there's Harry Mason again, so everybody say hello. But yeah, in terms of the early... again, actually, you know what, I probably won't show, because I can't really find a copy of it easily. But basically, when they were developing Silent Hill 2, they basically had, like, a little test video with, Sybil Bennett as a playable character. Like, she was basically running around a recreation of the diner just to Team Silent to see what they could do with PS2 hardware, and, it brings to mind the Silent Hill 1 remake on PlayStation 2 that could have been. But yeah, it was pretty much there as a test for Silent Hill 2, and that's how we got the game that we know and love today. Again, it's also a matter of the fact that, you know, considering that this is an all-new game, we don't really get to see any areas from Silent Hill 1, which is, saddening, but, you know, develops more of the town, lets us see another side of it, and even though we can basically see the Lakeside Amusement Park off in the distance, we shall never go there. Until Silent Hill 3. And even then, it's kind of, yeah. But in the meantime, that's pretty much us spelunking around town done. We can't go anywhere else, so now that we have the key to the Woodside Apartments, let's check in! And, pretty much just ignore all these lying figures. Ignore these thralls that dare to interfere into my plans. And this is pretty much our first area of the game. I guess if you consider it in video game terms, it's more like a dungeon or crawl space, mansion, area thing. Whatevers. Basically, it's our first major area of the game where we've got to explore all around. And, well, grab our flashlight, because we don't have one at the moment, and even though in Silent Hill 2's case, it is designed well enough so that you can still see in the dark, it doesn't let up on the atmosphere, which is great. And it also has a very subdued soundtrack in this area as well, because, I mean, as you ascend the stairs, you'll have, basically the sort of sound that happens, like, when your ears go a little bit fuzzy and you can't really hear things very well. The ringing in your ears. I can't quite remember the scientific term, but it's pretty much as close as I can get to it at this point. But anyway, it shouldn't take too long before you ascend to this floor and find your flashlight. And, don't misconstrue me, I said a flashlight, not a flashlight, although James probably has plenty of experience with that, when his dear beloved Mary was in the hospital. Well, hey. Gabba gabba hey, comedy, is this thing on? But again, vamping aside, again, like... I mean, I really don't have much to say that's any different from Silent Hill 1. You get your lay of the land, you figure out what sort of puzzles you're gonna be taking down, like with a trash chute over there, figuring out what items do what, and that's pretty much that, really. But now it is time for our fan-feathered favourite of a light on a familiar-looking dress that is, well, not very stylish. Like, I mean, not to criticize Mary's taste in fashion, but, come on, sister. You need something that's stylish. I'm not melting. And by the way, something I actually missed until a recent playthrough, actually. There is a magazine. I don't know if it contributes towards getting the good ending or anything, but yeah, there is actually a magazine right besides Mary's dress that's, basically talking about how to be a good married couple. So, yeah, again, I don't know if that contributes to anything, or if it's, I don't know. It's pretty much, it is what it is, really. Just flavor text. And again, I guess to briefly cover the endings for fuck all of anything else to talk about as we spelunk around here. Yeah, basically, the endings are much more subtly done in terms of Silent Hill 2 than any other game in the series. In Silent Hill 1, it was pretty much a case of, like, do you bother to explore around town and do the Kaufman side quest, or do you bother to not and, like, not save Sybil? In Silent Hill 2's case, however, it's basically a lot more based on what you examine, you know, what sort of things, like, what sort of items you examine, what sort of, elements of the town that you explore, what things you collect. again, it's all very in-depth and not something you're really going to pick up on your first time through, and even in some cases can be a bit of a god dang it moment. But at the same time, though, like, I mean, it does leave a lot to be discovered, and was probably something a little bit more to be treasured and reviewed during the days before the internet was really widespread, because, I mean, I can imagine so many people, like, you know, talking to their schoolyard chums about, you know, finding a new ending in Silent Hill 2 and just talking about, you know, how to complete certain objectives and figure all that stuff out. Of course, this did come during the days of, you know, Silent Hill 1's alleged hospital ending, which was completely bullshit, but it's a bit of a sordid timeline in our days, which I kind of miss, to be honest. But I mean, like, to talk about anything else, like, I mean, with that whole, there's a hole here, it's gone now. Examine that if you want one of the darker endings. That's all I'm saying about it for now. And again, in a very familiar pace to Silent Hill 1, there are certain sequences of events that you need to do and complete as you explore, but at the same time, like, it's woven in so organically into the game that you don't really feel like you're being pushed around. It just sort of, everything just sort of falls into place. Like, I mean, it can be very easy to sort of, like, get yourself lost here and there, but, like, at the same time, in a similar manner to Primal for the PlayStation 2, you always feel like you're not really getting too frustrated, because you'll eventually come across that aha moment that will eventually make you, you know, figure out what the puzzle's all about, where you need to go, and again, everything just falls into place, which is just the good sign of immaculate design. Like, I mean, even on easier or harder difficulties, like, I mean, if you are pretty laterally minded about the way in which you go about this game, you'll fall in love with it, man. And I mean, I know it might seem like I'm sucking this game's big dingus, but, like, I mean, I genuinely mean it, man. This game is, it might be considered overrated to say, but, like, I mean, it is fantastic. But anyway, now we seem to have a key. Will we pick it up? And of course, as is typical horror tradition, you're expecting something to snap on James's hand and eat it, but instead, well, it's a bit more innocent.
Ow!
Ha ha!
Hey, wait! Damn it.
The one thing I don't think I'll ever forget is, back during the eventual KBM playthrough, where, let's just say there was a lot of, well, very loud screaming to be had. But again, I mean, to be fair, like, KBM was playing it blind, so, yeah, can't really, yeah, whatever. The point is, it's around this point in the game where we can fear not, because instead of relying on a wooden plank with a spike in it, now we get a gun in a shopping cart, because satire and consumerism on America with the yeehaw and the cowboy hats shooting up a storm, and I'm not really joking, in that room you can actually examine the cart and you find a bunch of pockmarks everywhere, so yeah. Not exactly sure what gun laws are like in Japan, but I don't know if Forbidden Siren's anything to go by. They seem to be pretty rampant in the rifle department. But in any case, despite the short part length, let's just say that we're going to be hearing something that will alert James on where to go. And this is also where we get an admittedly kind of disappointing first encounter with the game's most famous enemy. Yes, this is Pyramid Head. Not that he really does anything, but at this point in time he's pretty much unarmed, and it's mainly the effect of what he's foreshadowing that shall take your attention. So on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time on the Silent Hill 2 commentary, well, I'll leave you with this, but in the meantime, let's take a look at this gentleman watching some TV. Catch you later.